Hi everybody, this is Usha Pandit, your Mind Springs English teacher. Today I've come to you with a very important topic, one that a lot of people need. In fact, everybody needs. Okay? Speech making. Speeches everyone needs, from students in schools where they need to speak in front of an audience, to people in offices who need to do a presentation, or people who are called upon to make a speech at some function. Everyone needs to speak. Speech making is so scary to a whole bunch of people that they say that there are only two things that people really worry about, and that is speaking in public and death. So it's almost like making it the same as death. That's how afraid people are of speaking in public. So today I'm going to make sure that you are not so afraid by giving you some excellent strategies, and also by analyzing speech and telling you what exactly is there in a speech that makes it into a good speech. Okay, so stay with me and listen to the whole thing. Now, this has been taken from my book Writing with Ease. The new improved Writing with Ease is available at amazon.in and on our website www.mindsprings.in. So do buy it and look at all the details that I have put into that book. So let's start straight away. So speech making, let's look at the beginning of speech. So when you start a speech, one of the first things to remember about speech making is you need to have something passionate to talk about. Okay, if you tell me now do a speech on oil drilling, I can't do it because I don't know anything about it and I don't feel passionately about it. But if I am an environmentalist and you tell me talk to us about oil spills and how millions of fish are dying, then I might be motivated to talk because I feel about it so passionately. So the best speeches are given on topics that you are passionate about. Just remember this. So when someone asks you to make a speech, make sure that you bring an angle to it where there is a certain amount of passion in you. It can be anger, it can be fear, it can be anything, but there needs to be a certain josh. Okay, so that's what we need for a speech. So let's go straight away to the first point, attention grabbing. Attention grabbing is very important because people judge you literally in the first few seconds. They kind of decide, is it a good or bad speaker? And you are also the most nervous when you start your speech. After that you become quite comfortable. So attention grabbing is very important. You need to grab the attention of the people. And how do you do that? You can do that with a statement. So sometimes the statement is a shocking statement, everybody sits up. And if you go, for example, if you go and say, I hate people who wear purple clothes, then people are like, really? Why? So see, you've got their attention, you've grabbed their attention, and then you can carry on with that speech, or you can present a picture that is a surprise, or you can present a visual, or you can startle them in some way and make them sit up. You can tell a joke. You can actually do something like a personal anecdote. People are interested in stories. Storytelling is a great way of grabbing attention. So if you are telling them, I'm telling you a story about myself. If I say something like 30 years ago in a small sleepy town in Chennai, I started my career. Children had no shoes. It becomes an anecdote where everyone sits and listens because you're wondering, what is she going to say? Very good personal anecdotes. The second point to make after you've grabbed the attention, very short, attention grabbing should not go on and on forever. 2 minutes, done. Then you focus on the destination. Why are you saying this? So they should not be in a place where they say, what is she going to say? And till 15 minutes they don't know what you're going to talk about because you're busy doing all kinds of things. You need to tell them straight away what your plan is. I'm going to convince you about the futility of apps. I can say that right in the beginning. That's also shocking because everybody today wants apps, and this lady is saying, I'm going to talk to you about the futility of apps. So people will sit up and say, I wonder why. Now I've also told you my destination. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to convince you, or I'm going to convince you that democracy has actually failed. I can do many things. So therefore, focus on destination. A roadmap. You need to give me a quick roadmap, main points. What are you going to talk about? If you're going to talk about slums, maybe I'll say I'm going to talk to you about the condition of housing in Mumbai, of the slums. I'm going to talk to you about infrastructure, work of NGOs, role of government, and I'm going to give you 2 fantastic solutions. See, now you've got my speech in your hand. So the audience will relax and say, we know where she's going and we know these are the 4 things she's going to talk about. So you can do that. Give them a roadmap, quick roadmap. The other thing you can do after that is to create a personal bond. As I said, stories are very, very important. So if I say, let's look at Mr. Rao's journey to becoming a house owner. And if I'm going to take you through the problems of buying a house with Mr. Rao as my protagonist, it is more interesting than if I put up a few statistics, if my presentation is dry, and I'm just going to tell you a lot of things you know already. Here you know it already, but because I have created a character, you are interested. So personal bonds, personal connections are very important. Or you say, when I was young and I was growing up during the times of the emergency, suddenly you're interested. That's what I mean. Speaker credibility is the next one I want to talk to you about, and all this is in your first part of your speech. This is the first part, okay? All of these will come in. Speaker credibility is to establish your expertise. So you don't have to boast and say, I'm the expert here and just listen to what I'm telling you. You can actually bring in your expertise in many ways, where you talk about experiences when I was on the panel, or I was on the board of something, or I was a teacher in South Africa, or a doctor treating the Ebola virus. People suddenly realize you've done things, and that establishing of speaker credibility is very important, because then they listen to you, right? That's the first part. So shall we just look at it quickly? Attention grabbing, focus on destination, roadmap, personal bond, speaker credibility. 5 things, very little, just touch and go, and you will get a fabulous introduction for your speech. The second thing is your main part, which is the body, which is where you will put your details and you will put your points 1, 2, 3, put them in order, make sure that they are logically connected, make sure your sequencing words are there, keep it brief but make it strong. Vocabulary is important here. And the conclusion is where you reinforce all the big ideas that you just spoke about. Just give them a quick summary where you say, this is what we spoke about, or these are the 2 solutions we offered, and ask something, which means, what are we going to do about it? How many of you will go out and start teaching in a different way? How many of you will go out and begin a campaign to plant more trees? That's a good one to end it with, because you're actually saying we now need some action. So that's a great speech, and you will get fantastic responses if you do that. Don't get into a speechy mode. Try to talk to people. Don't talk at them. You talk at them, you will get nervous, because you will be able to see there people going away from you. When you talk to them, they are engaged, they are laughing, lots and lots of engagement, and they are all relaxed. You know, I've got a very, something that I tell a lot of people is, when you start a speech, the audience is actually as nervous as you are. They empathetically share your nervousness. And when you relax and when you start speaking comfortably, the audience relaxes. And that is where the engagement begins. And that's the secret of a great speech. Let me give you some quick strategies now on how to make it happen. Okay? Collective determination. Now, in every big speech, you will find that the audience is taken along with the speaker. So, we say things like, we shall win, we shall conquer, We shall make sure that the nation is not divided. You look at politicians' speeches. They are full of collective determination. Collectively, we are determining that we will do certain things today. That's a very, very powerful one. Use strong words. Look at the speeches that say blood, sweat and tears. We shall do this. There's a certain energy in those words, and that's what you need to think about. Don't use words that are dull, boring, weak, seen as not so happening. Use nice, strong, energetic words. Repetition. Martin Luther King, what did he say? I have a dream. What did Obama say? We can, we can. So you will find people saying certain things over and over again. That repetition is very powerful. Okay? Imperatives, where you say, let us see how we can do this. You must go out, and today we must decide on changing the way we have treated the earth. Now, if you talk like that, there is an imperative command that you are giving on behalf of everyone, and it's very powerful. A direct address. I ask you, sir, why are we made to feel inferior in our own country? Now see, I ask you, sir, what is that? That's a direct address. I'm addressing every male in that audience, or every person. And you don't have to say sir only for men, you can say sir for women also. They do, many of them do. So therefore, that is a direct address. You can do anecdotes. As a student, I remember the times when we were charged with idealism. You talk like this, people are again looking at you and saying, I wonder what she did. Personal anecdotes. Superlatives. You spray words like the greatest, the best, the most foul thing that has ever happened to us. The extraordinarily incompetent parts of our system. You know, you use these big superlative words. Again, you are attaching weight to your arguments. Very, very good for speaking. Rhetoric questions. Should we ignore the plight of the downtrodden? Now you are asking a question. You don't expect an answer. The answer is of course no. But when you ask a rhetoric question, it's strong. Instead of saying we should not ignore the plight of the blah 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 blah, which is like, okay, now you are advising me on what to do. Should we ignore is almost giving you the power to disagree and knowing that you will not, right? Emotional questions. Should children be going hungry to school? Is an emotional question. Don't we have any feelings when we hear of children dying in hospitals? Is an emotional question. Because everyone has children and can empathize with that question. And finally, the Socratic method. How would you explain democracy? How would you explain totalitarianism? How would you explain nationalism? Now what I'm doing is, I'm not even telling you what it is. I'm asking you to think about it. I'm asking you to judge whether these stereotypes that we talk about are really true. And that Socratic questioning. Socrates never answered any questions. He only asked more questions and drove you to find out more and therefore think more. That was his strategy, and that's a strategy that works even today. So people, do go to my website and buy that book. If you're thinking of making speeches, any opportunity you get, jump in and make speeches, because that's the way to improve your speaking and to get rid of your nervousness. And you'll start loving it, and people will start inviting you to speak, and that's how you become a speaker. So therefore, subscribe to my channel, press the bell notification, comment on the box and tell me whether you liked this, and whether also when you become great speakers, write and tell me that you're now doing brilliantly well, and I'd love to hear that. So till we meet again, keep smiling.